beautiful, amazing Aquarius. I'm Gabriella from Gabriella's Vampire Tarot. For today, I'm going to be doing my first Gabriella's Dark readings based off of Vlad Dracula Tarot. So, in the icon or thumbnail, whatever the human calls it, he wanted me to tell you guys about how I pretty much have the 11 card spread formed in the Vlad Dracula Tarot cross. So, and of course, each number, whether it's the first card, second, third, and so forth, what have you, has an important meaning behind each card and stuff. And of course, if you look at the title, it's pretty much also similar to the other, tarot titles. So, for example, for the first one, you get, 10 of Pentacles. Happy home, happy hearth, happy family, or abundance, or so much confidence within you. So, but we're also going to look at the importance of the first card. So, card number 1, the significator forms the base of the cross. Everything in this reading will be built upon this foundation. Okay, so what I actually see here is everything is going to be built upon this sense of confidence around you. And that's kind of what I'm getting from the start of this reading, is that, you have so much to offer. And the thing is the 10 of Pentacles, it's abundance, but you don't per se have to be in a real abundant position. Of course, it is a general reading, so maybe it does apply to you in other ways. But you could also have so much more to provide and add into any into your own life, into other people's lives and stuff like that. But this is already kind of like the grounded part of your entire reading for today. Let's look at the 10 of Pentacles, Dracula style. 10 of Coins, Vlad's hidden treasures. Snagov Monastery, the probable location of Vlad's burial tomb, is located on an island in the center of a lake a short distance from Bucharest. Toward the end of his final reign, Vlad ordered his servants to seal the bulk of his gold in giant barrels that were sunk into the lake. Vlad then had the servants put to death so they could not reveal the location of the treasure. Well, I guess he pretty much, thought that one through, already, leaning towards the angle of caution. High out of reach of an invading army, Paneri Castle would have been an even more secure location for Vlad's gold. Historians believe there could have been a hidden vault in the mountain fortress containing a hoard of riches. One legend says that on certain nights the castle glows with an eerie gold flame that indicates the location of the buried treasure to any adventurer brave enough to seek it out. Well, in case nobody has any summer plans or even fall plans and stuff like that, it would probably be best to travel around the end of August, September. But if you guys are interested in maybe trying to find this 10 of Coins that's somewhere located in a lake around Bucharest, so I guess it's game on for anybody who's interested. Okay, let's look at the second card. Ooh, you got 3 of Stakes titled Dracula's Dreadful and Curious Things. So the second card, this card represents the challenges that will have to be overcome in order to achieve the desired outcome. Now, in other ways, I'm just going to keep this short so it's not all too, macabre in other ways, but this is the challenge you'll need to overcome. Yes, you have confidence and stuff like that. You have probably so much to offer, but the most important, crucial aspect for your challenge for today is the 3 of Wands, of heading out onto this journey of whatever it may take you or wherever. So my suggestion would be is if you want to overcome any kind of challenges coming up real soon, is to really think about getting out, whether it's out of your comfort zone or maybe traveling or maybe doing anything it just takes just to leave the old behind and whatever just does not serve in any kind of purpose. Because afterwards we get, death, which is a card of rebirthing for that matter. But let's first look at the 3 of Stakes. Dracula's Dreadful and Curious Things. In the year of our Lord 1456, Dracula did many dreadful and curious things. So begins the first line of a pamphlet printed in 1488. The pamphlet was essentially a long list of Vlad Dracula's cruel acts and was intended to shock and frighten readers. Vlad had many different ways of dealing with the challenges that occurred during his life, and although impalement was his favorite, there were many other dreadful methods. His ability to adapt to nearly any situation and overcome various obstacles, which I actually would suggest you do as well. If he can do it, so can you. was a huge part of his success as a ruler and contributed to the longevity of his legend, although his tactics secured his place in the annals of human history as one of the cruelest tyrants to ever live. Well, of course, it's like, whatever you do, 100% your prerogative, but if he can do it, so can you. Yep, death. Oof, one of the cards I pulled for the vampire who killed me off, but this is also a card of rebirthing, and it's titled Vlad Beheaded by the Ottomans. So let's look at the importance of the third card. This shows the skill or ability that you will need to have in order to achieve the desired outcome. Okay, so if your challenge is the Three of Wands of actually having to go out on this journey of whatever it may take, the skill, that I would suggest that you would actually try to follow, if possible, is to have a rebirthing moment taking place as soon as possible. And rebirthing can take any place, but it's usually about shedding the old so you can welcome the new. And just kind of let go of whatever's not still serving you or anything so you can embrace any kind of new beginnings for that matter. But let's look at what death has, Dracula style. Although many of the details surrounding the death of Vlad Dracula remain mysterious, most accounts state that he was killed on the battlefield outside Bucharest, the modern-day capital of Romania. After his death, his head was taken to Istanbul, also known back in the day Constantinople, where it was displayed on a pike at the Sultan's palace. As one of the few military leaders to have beaten back the seemingly unstoppable Ottoman army, Vlad's death helped clear the way for the unrivaled reign of the empire and created the new opportunities for people of Wallachia, which is also known in modern days as Romania. Just 5 years, Wallachia experienced its longest uninterrupted period of prosperity and growth through the reigns of his brother and nephew Vlad the Monk and Radu the Great. Yeah, so the thing is the rebirthing, I mean, it sounds kind of dark, but the thing was, his passing also opened up new opportunities for other people to either, will follow through with his ways or actually, will have the opportunity to be better or different rulers and stuff like that. Okay, now we get to the fourth one. King of Pentacles, King of Coins, Dan the Third forced to dig his own grave. Okay. Let's see here. What is so important about the fourth card? Should probably be feeding soon. This is the first bar of the cross, forming the basis of future and past events. This specific card represents present circumstances. Okay, so you could be already in a very fulfilled, high power, stable, grounded. You probably, could be living a luxurious lifestyle of however or whatever it may be. But you could also be in like an abundant in the sense that you have a very grounded, very balanced, very secure life in current times. But maybe, it's like you want to actually get out more. Maybe you want to overcome your own personal obstacles because maybe you want to have like this real rebirthing moment that could be taking place in your current life of however and whatever it may be. Or maybe this is just part of, the whole rebirthing process as well. So, let's talk about King of Coins, Dracula style. Dan the Younger was the brother of Vladislav II, the man responsible for murdering Vlad Dracul, the father of both, of Vlad the Monk, Vlad Dracula, and Radu the Handsome, in 1447 and seizing the throne of Wallachia. When Vladislav was executed by Vlad Dracula in 1456, Dan became one of the several rival claimants to the title of voivode. For 4 years, he attempted to lead an insurrection against Vlad's rule, even going so far as to have himself proclaimed voivode Dan III of Wallachia by the boyars of Brasov. In 1460, Vlad finally caught Dan outside the city walls of Brasov. He ordered Dan to dig his own grave. Then, after the grave was finished, he beheaded him and placed him in the hole. Then he had his followers all massively displayed and impaled of horror at the base of Tampa Hill, and this was one of the first incidents of Vlad's use of mass impalements to send a clear message to any other potential claimants to the throne of Wallachia. Well, I guess he put a lot of thought into his plans on how he would try to avoid other people trying to claim the throne of modern-day Romania, for that matter. Okay, the fifth card. Oof, you get the Eight of Swords, also titled Vlad Led to Hungarian Captivity. And what do we know about the Eight of Swords? It's pretty much just feeling kind of lost, dazed, confused. You pretty much just feel directionless. You probably think, oh goodness, how do I go from point A to point B? Or maybe you're still in a kind of a bit of a constant struggle on having to overcome the Three of Wands as your challenge in current times. Okay, well, this is the second bar of the cross. It shows the highest possible outcome and is an indication of what will be. Okay, so my beloved, beautiful Aquarius is in this world. I'm afraid that if you don't overcome this the challenge, I almost want to say chalice, but challenge of wanting to get out and kind of pursue any goals, endeavors, dreams for that matter and stuff. And if you actually just think, you know what, I just am already in a comfortable position, I really don't have the need or desire to want to actually leave or develop or have a rebirthing moment, this could be a potential outcome if you were to just, do nothing, you know? So, let's look at Eight of Swords, Dracula style. Just a few weeks after Vlad's narrow escape from the Ponary castle, King Matthias recognized Radu the Handsome, his brother who turned against him, as Walachia's rightful ruler. Vlad was captured by the Czech mercenary commander Jan Yeksta at Königstein fortress and turned over to the king. How about that? I guess this is Jan Yeksta on horseback while he's dragging Vlad Dracula alongside him. Okay. Matthias was surprised to discover the news of Vlad's capture was eliciting significant consternation from his allies, so he presented documents proving Vlad was preparing to betray Hungary. As his removal from power would bring stability to the region, his imprisonment was accepted as a necessary evil. When he was finally released, much of Vlad's brashness had faded and he was killed in battle shortly. Unfortunately, Radu began a campaign against Transylvania and Moldavia on behalf of his ally that resulted in a period of extreme instability throughout Wallachia until the country became an Ottoman vassal state under Vlad the Monk in 1482. How about that? Okay, and then we get 6 and 7, the Chariot and the Empress. Oof, okay. So it might seem a bit confusing, but here's a little bit of an explanation on how these cards are about. So the 6 is about the immediate future, and the past is about, immediate future and immediate past. So 6 and 7, so 6 is future, 7 is past. So 6, I see so much motivation actually taking place because maybe you're worried about facing the Eight of Swords as a potential outcome. So the Chariot, that's pretty much, going to be taking place in your future is your motivation and your drive on wanting to actually overcome your obstacles. So congratulations on achieving that big challenge, because in the past you did get the Empress in the sense of this new beginning, because, if you already had death already taking place of this rebirthing, and then it also resulted in new beginnings as well, and in this fertility moment and abundance for you, and maybe that's why you pretty much already had or will have this motivation on wanting to pursue. So let's look at the Chariot, Dracula style. In the mid-1400s, Wallachia was in constant political and armed tension with its neighbors as it tried to retain its status as an independent nation. A large part of this effort required an annual tribute to the dominant force in the region, the Ottoman Empire. Vlad Dracula decided to strengthen Wallachia's bond with Hungary and stopped recognizing Ottoman rule over his nation. The Turkish army was busy fighting battles, and the tribute was not enforced for several years. Sensing a weakness in Mehmed II, Vlad crossed the Danube River to attack Ottoman positions and occupy their territory. Despite the overwhelming forces against him, Vlad Dracula's unconventional warfare tactics allowed him to repel the Ottoman invaders. Due to the very nature of the time in which he lived, Vlad was a military man. In order to retain any semblance of sovereign independence, the countries of this era had to be willing to pay for the privilege or to fight potential oppressors. Vlad was smart enough to avoid conflict until the moment was right to strike, and had it not been for the changing political situation resulting in a Hungarian betrayal, he might have been able to hold off future Ottoman incursions into Europe on the strength of his own reputation. Right. And then the Empress. Let the world see where I have been. The gruesome scene depicted on this card concerns one of Vlad's mistresses. She was afraid of losing him to another woman, so she told him that she was pregnant with his child. When he later discovered she had been lying about the pregnancy, Vlad ordered her to be cut open, flayed alive, and put on display on the public street with the words, "Let the world see where I have been." Okay, how about that? This act served two purposes: a strong warning not to manipulate the voivod's actions, and a way of verifying that his mistress was not actually pregnant. Vlad's mistress wished to serve as a mother figure but did not actually conceive, and she was punished for her deception. The mistress was made to be literally open and honest about why she was cut open by Vlad Dracula. How about that? Okay, let's move on. Let's go to the 8th and 9th card. Ooh, Knight of Coins and Queen of Coins. Okay. So again, this is about the immediate future and past. So the Knight of Coins is pretty much just that you're going to have patience in the future. Yes, I see you incredibly motivated, passionate, and ambitious with the Chariot, but in the future, you're also going to actually have to have a form of patience, because the thing is, hypothetically, you're kind of going down this metaphorical highway, but suddenly you are just placed to a halt by the Knight of Pentacles saying, patience. Yes, I mean, that's the deep and sad truth about a lot of things. You're just riding this wave of success, and then suddenly you are just hit with this stop sign to say, okay, we're going to need to take a break for a bit. But this, okay, so this is actually one of Vlad Dracula's sons, called Minea the Bad, Vlad's eldest son. Okay, I shouldn't even be over-explaining because the title is clear as well. But anyway, that's for card number 8. And then, Justina Silagi, Vlad's second wife, is for the past, and the Queen of Coins, the Queen of Pentacles, is that you already had this sense of stability. So you already had the King of Pentacles, and now you have the Queen of Pentacles, the counterpart of all the Pentacles. So let us look at the Knight of Coins. Minea the Bad, Vlad's eldest son. Although much of his early life is the subject of debate among scholars, Minea was most likely born while his father was living in exile after being deposed in 1448. As a child, he was a hostage to the Ottoman Empire, where he was raised and educated in the court of Mehmed II. After his father was chased off the throne by Radu the Handsome, Minea fled Ottoman captivity and spent the next 30 years serving in the court of kings of Hungary. In 1494, Minea settled in Sibiu and undertook a plot to persuade the boyars to support his candidacy to become the next voivode. When Vlad the Monk's son, Radu the Great, ascended the throne, Minea was chased out of Sibiu, but in May 1508, following Radu's death, Minea was finally successful at persuading the noble families of Wallachia to bring him to the throne. He extracted a cruel and bloody revenge upon the boyars who had failed to support him in the past, raping and pillaging through the countryside, burning entire villages, cutting the noses and ears off priests, burning abbots alive in their monasteries, and raping noble family members. He devoted himself to robbing and confiscating goods and money from the traders of nobles of Wallachia, behavior that earned him the nickname Minea the Bad. He was eventually murdered by Serbian nobles. He probably took a lot out of his father, from his father, wouldn't you think? Also having that ruthlessness about you. Then we get Justina Silagi, the Queen of Coins. Justina was King Matthias's cousin who spent her life in marriages arranged without her consent. Well, that was more or less what also happened with all the women back in when I was still human, when I was like growing up, all of these women were more or less a send off, and it just, in these forced blind date marriages and stuff. But anyway, as a lower-ranking noblewoman whose father died while she was still young, she was an easy political pawn who could be moved around to secure the loyalty of various landowners. Her first marriage to Hungarian noblemen was arranged by the king in order to secure an exchange of strategic lands for estates in Transylvania. Well, that's what also happened back in my time as well, but not for any of these big upper people, these kings and queens and stuff. In 1474, Matthias arranged for Justina to marry Vlad Dracula, who was living in the city of Buda as a captive guest of the king. Following marriage, Vlad began to plot his return to the throne of Wallachia by courting the boyars, the Saxons, also known as modern-day Germans, and the merchants of Brasov. He successfully led an invasion of Wallachia and was once recognized as voivode. Immediately after Vlad's death, Justina was married to Paul Suki under orders from Matthias. She died in 1497. Okay. Now we're going to finish off with 10 and 11. Ooh, the Hierophant. This is Taurus energy. And the Magician, which is Gemini, Virgo energy. So, the Hierophant, also called Pope Pius II. And the Magician, Vlad Dracula. Ooh, we're going to be hearing about who he was on a different note. Okay. So, 10 and 11 are potential outcomes of the entire thing. And what I see is that you're going to be manifesting something, and you're going to be incredibly committed, about this whole, manifesting outcome or process or journey you're going to be heading towards in the future as well. So, wow. I mean, it looks like that you're putting in a lot of hard work and overcoming obstacles. So, congratulations so far, my beloved, beautiful Aquariuses. Okay, let's talk about who Pope Pius II was. As the Ottoman Empire gained greater power, the Muslim religion took hold on the fringes of Europe, and the Catholic Church was only able to drum up minimal support for crusading armies. The defeat of the Byzantine Empire did little to weaken the popularity of the Orthodox religion, and the Protestant Reformation spread through Europe shortly after the Pope's reign ended. Pope Pius II supported Dracula's incursions into Ottoman territory and his heroic efforts to repel Mehmed the Conqueror's invasion of Wallachia. Pius is remembered more for his role as a religious leader than for his abilities as a ruler and statesman. Okay, and then we get the Magician, Vlad Dracula. The 1400s were a time of constant conflict in Europe. As voivode, Vlad Dracula had to be cunning, ruthless, diplomatic, and financially savvy, simultaneously balancing needs of his people, the noble class, also known as boyars, the merchant class, Saxons and modern-day Germans, Catholic and Orthodox clerics, and the peasants against the demands of Wallachia's enemies and allies across Europe and Asia Minor. He created the image of a strong and cruel leader so that internal and external threats could be kept at bay. Vlad had 4 tools at his disposal: an army, the sword, taxes and merchants, income, the coin, diplomatic connections with Europe and Turkey, the cup, and the ruthless, the stake. So you get all 4 of the elements based off of the Vlad Dracula. Like you get the king of coins, the cups, the this and the that. So anyway, he employed these elements to maintain Wallachia's independence at a time when it was under constant attack, and became hero to his people. Well, my beautiful, amazing Aquariuses, I'm going to have to leave it at this. But it looks like that you're going to actually be celebrating and actually overcoming so many obstacles. And I'm just so beyond impressed with everything you're going to be heading towards. Because, I see that you're going to be incredibly committed with this new manifesting moment, idea, theme, whatever it is going to be taking place in your future. But I'm going to have to leave it at this. But if you guys enjoyed this reading, please let me know if you would like to continue. Because either way, I'm going to go back to my regular vampire readings for that matter. But I thought it would be interesting and fun to be incorporating more historical flair, because I'm going to be creating other videos based off of other historical facts on more of who Vlad Dracula and all of these other historical figures were, and also other vampiric themes as well. But anyway, I want to thank you so much for joining me. I love you guys incredibly. I'm going to wish you all the best on where this journey will take you, and best of luck.